there, this is my class. And I'm just going to hold this down here. All right, guys, so we have this dilemma of a third grade teacher who teaches in a bilingual classroom, and the children have not been writing in English until they get to her class, and some ideas and strategies and things that you guys think might help. And we have teachers in this group and counselors in this group, special ed in this group, PE in this group, and K through 12 represented. So somebody want to start the conversation? Anybody?
You need like a super structured curriculum.
Super structured curriculum, okay.
Where everything is broken down into each piece by each piece. And Step Up to Writing does a super good job, but not if you just pick up the book. So seeking out some kind of training, it's an awesome program. But
so Step Up to
Writing.
Step Up to Writing, but you definitely want some PD with it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you're just handed this book, it's like this huge menu, and you're gonna have no idea what to do with it. But with some PD, it's awesome.
Okay.
And thinking about the writing process as like pre-writing and drafting and revising and editing, and thinking about going through that drafting, revising, editing like 2 or 3 times orally before you ever write anything down is really, really helpful.
Oh, okay.
And then one other thing that is really super awesome is something called mentor sentences, which will help them think grammatically about language.
And where would we find mentor sentences?
On Teachers Pay Teachers.
Teachers.
J. Ivy, I think. Mentor Sentences by J. Ivy.
J. Ivy. Okay. Very cool. Some other thoughts? What did other groups?
Does she have resources in her building or?
Well, they have some resources, but she hasn't had PD, so.
I mean, as far as like, are there other teachers in the same?
Literacy teachers.
Yeah, there's other teachers. Yeah, and none of them, according to her, none of them have been given the PD. So it's kind of a departmental or building-wide issue. Okay. What else? And yeah, it's okay to ask questions, because then I'm going to show her this video, and then she'll be able to respond back to us and let us know how she did.
One of the first things I thought of was maybe talking, well, you guys said teachers. One thing that I've done with teaching writing is going straight to the principal, who used to be a teacher, and asking if she can come and maybe teach a lesson and then observe how she teaches it, if she's had training in it.
Right. So if not the principal, maybe some other guest teacher come and teach a lesson for a couple of reasons. One, when there's a new person in the room, the kids treat it differently, because, oh, there's a guest in here, but also then you can observe and get some new ideas and some new teaching strategies, etc. Maybe if there's somebody who's really good at some of the writing in the wicker in their building, you might ask your principal, hey, is there a person who's really good at teaching writing who has really good test scores on their kids? Could I go observe them too? That might be one. What else? What are some other thoughts you guys had?
And like a ESL teacher and all at the school.
I'm sure they probably do, because of the high level of number of bilinguals, yes.
A good resource.
So check with the ESL teachers and see what suggestions they have for learning in the second language. Right? What else?
Which is also like comparing and contrasting. If they've written in Spanish, then take some of the Spanish sentences and build paragraphs, and then compare those to doing it in English, or contrasting. How do we do it in Spanish? How would we do it in English?
Right.
And the variations. And something that just popped into my head was like post-it writing, where you write each word on a post-it, and the way you conjugate a sentence in Spanish is different than the way you do it in English. But if you write the English thought, each word on a post-it, you can move stuff around. You can also spread them out and build them to be more descriptive. So if you're talking about the big red ball, the big round, shiny red ball that sounded like, a spring when it was bouncing, or, grow those sentences.
Oh,
kind of.
that is cool, because they can then
Give descriptions and then build those sentences.
Cool. Other ideas?
We had a bunch. And the main thing that we kept coming back to was that this is going to take a lot of time.
Uh-huh.
And we suggested pairing them with an older grade, if that was possible.
Pairing with an older grade.
That. And then writing about hobbies, so that they are writing about something they're interested in. And that it's better to write in a journal than loose leaf paper, so that they can go back and see how much better they've gotten. They can see their progress.
Yeah.
And then another cool thing was suggested in our group was to produce a newspaper. So it was like it was a little bit less mundane and more special, once in a while.
And it'd be published. They could share it out. Right. Any other thoughts? Yes.
I was just wondering, So they haven't written at all since, or
They've been writing in Spanish in kindergarten, first and second.
no English, so they don't know like how to spell or.
Right, so
anything.
spelling might be an issue, right?
Is that
Is that what it?
Yeah.
Is that what their situation is like? I was confused about that.
Right, yeah. My understanding is that these are Spanish-speaking children who have been raised in bilingual classes where most of their instruction in writing, or all of their instruction in writing, has been in their native language.
Okay, and when you say instruction in writing, does that mean they're never writing in English?
Right.
Not at all, ever.
And that I don't know. I don't know whether in any of the subjects they are
That
then
would be
using
a
English.
different issue we were talking about.
Right, because it sounds like half the day is in English, and they're probably definitely speaking in English and using vocabulary in English, but they've not had instruction in writing in English or expectation of writing in English as a subject itself. I don't know whether they've been asked to write anything down in English in other areas. But she has heard the question, and we will get that answer. What else?
I brought it up to the group, but it is an accommodation for some of the kids that are on IEPs, is the speech to text option. And maybe just for practice, they can speak in their language and have it be typed out in front of them. Maybe it would be a nice tool of modeling.
Right. Anything else?
There needs to be a lot of teacher modeling and teacher guiding, not very much on them to do any writing, so you'll probably do most of the writing for them.
Right.
They'll copy it down and then you talk about it. I know that's where I started.
Right.
My kids,
Well,
a lot of
Yeah,
guidance.
reading and listening are receptive actions. Writing and speaking are external. And, it takes longer. That's why, babies don't speak at first. They hear first, they listen first. And then once they've processed it, then they speak. And they say that bilingual children who are raised with both languages at the same time take longer to speak. But when they speak, it's in both languages and it's accurate in both languages. But they have double to process. So it's a little bit harder. So there's like benefits, but also drawbacks to both situations. So it is interesting. Any other thoughts or encouragements for?
Just to tag on to that too, one way you could scaffold it that we talked about was have the sentence frames where you've written most of it and leave out some of the adjectives or something like that, and they can choose just one
Right.
word to put in, and the rest is kind of safe and done.
I know that one of the thoughts I had was actually really that idea of piggybacking on what they've learned in Spanish. Some of the things that are the same. Punctuation, except for capitalization, is the same, but punctuation is the same. Where you put your commas, where you put your periods, where you put your quotation marks, that's all the same. Capitalizing the first letter of a sentence, that's the same. Those kind of things are things that they should have already learned that you can then capitalize, and you can have them look at words as one concept, phrases as another concept, and then sentences as another concept. Also, you can talk about writing from the organizational standpoint. And one of the questions I have for her is, are the kindergartners and first and second grade teachers teaching organization of an introduction, a body, and a conclusion? Are they teaching, first this, then that, then the other, organization and sequencing? So there are some strategies that you want to make sure are being taught at the earlier levels. And if they're not, you need to talk to your principal about, okay, in order for them to do well in the writing, we need to scaffold with these strategies so that all we're doing is putting English words into where the Spanish words were, because then you can look at that differently. And then, of course, spelling in Spanish is easier than in English because every single word, every single vowel is sounded, and except for H that's silent, but you can sound it out. English is a lot harder to write because, the word B-O-W, how do you pronounce that? It's a bow in my hair, but it's a bow of a ship. How do you know when to pronounce it which way, right? There, and there, two, and two. English is really, really messed up, and it's really hard for people to learn, So that's really hard for them to grasp all of that. But if they can scaffold that underside, that kindergarten, first and second grade with what's a paragraph, what's a sentence, how do we punctuate, then we can work on the English stuff later on. So anyway, well, thank you guys. Everybody say bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, and good luck.